I'm wanting to make a little update, and I'm battling with myself because I feel so ragged right now. But that's the state I'm in after 4 chemos. TCHP, Taxotere, carboplatin, Herceptin, Perjeta. That's the combination I'm getting for chemo, and I've just got 4 of them. Today's Thursday, and I got the 4th one on Tuesday. Noticing my lights on in my car. Well, the good news is that some people know I went to get an ultrasound and they couldn't find anything to take a picture of. So obviously that's great news. The only caveat with that is that ultrasound is one level of imaging, and it's a pretty gross level of imaging. You know, like the MRI actually is more enhanced or something, or more sensitive scans. So the fact that they couldn't find anything on ultrasound is great news. And now, I mean, it could be the case that if they were to do an MRI now, there might be something there. But regardless, it's still something to celebrate for sure. I can't imagine really getting to this place, getting to the 4th round of chemo and being in the position where there wasn't a lot of movement on the tumor, because there's dealing with the tumor, which I had in my left breast, and then there's dealing with the rogue stem cells that are perhaps in the body, and they could be anywhere, really. That's how I understand it with cancer. So one of the big things with chemo, one of the goals is to break down the tumor that's present, and also to kill any of those rogue stem cells. So when I spoke to the oncologist last, he said that yes, the stem cells get attacked first or early on before the tumor would break down. So, I mean, it would stand to reason that something really small, like it's a stem cell that's not even detectable on a scan. If you were to get a PET CT and it shows masses, and a stem cell obviously is not a mass. I don't even know how big it is, but I'm assuming it's quite small. It can't be detected on any scan. So, yeah, I mean, this is really amazingly encouraging good news. And, you know, some people, and myself included, have thought, well, why would you continue on if you had such success after 3 chemos, really? Well, after 4 chemos now. And the oncologist told me that if I were to stop now, number one, they don't have any evidence-based studies that show what happens when somebody stops doing treatment after 4 rounds or 3 rounds. So they don't really, you know, there are various studies, evidence-based, in the conventional cancer treatment world. So, you know, they can just conjecture at that point what it would be like, or have anecdotal stories of what it would be like. So that's one thing. Sometimes it's really hard for me to keep a train of thought. It's actually more challenging than normal. So what was I saying? Okay. Oh, the other thing is that there could be, say the tumor is completely resolved, and then there's the stem cells floating around. Well, when they go to take up residence somewhere in my body, there's a good chance that would happen. It could be in my liver, it could be my bones, it could be, those are the 2 places I can think of that the cancer apparently goes to. And at that point, he said it would be considered incurable, so that would be stage 4. And I don't really get how that works, because if it's no longer in the breast, and then it takes up residence in another part of the body, how that's considered stage 4, but it is, and they consider it's incurable, and then it becomes palliative care at that point, and that just is where the cancer team is trying to give you a good quality of life. They don't consider you curable. So I don't really want to take that chance, since I'm responding so well, since my body's responding so well to the chemo, even though it's difficult, it's hard, and I have a lot of recovery I need to do in between treatments, and also when the treatments are all done. It's worth it to me. The other thing is that I don't know if I could live with myself if I I think it'd be incredibly difficult if I decided to stop after 3 or 4 and I realized that I didn't complete the full rounds, and then at some point the cancer reoccurred. I mean, it still can, right? I mean, that's the whole thing about cancer is you can, quote, get rid of it, and it can, quote, come back and reoccur somewhere. So I want to give it the full shot. You know, there are a lot of people, I've heard a lot of stories of people that have gone through all the rounds of chemo successfully, and 10, 20 years later, they're fine. So there's actually a lot more stories in that regard than I've heard of, you know, the other kind of situations that they are, like people doing all alternative or what have you. I've really come to realize that my voice inside of this whole process for me with cancer is really one of an integrative healing. And I really wanted to start out as, I don't know who wouldn't. I mean, there's some people that just say, doctor, do what you will. I don't want to know anything. You just decide. I heard doctors and nurses say there are some people who don't want to make one decision. They want the doctor to make every single decision for them. And so there are those people, obviously. And then I know a lot of people that don't want to pollute their body, contaminate and toxify their body, and so they want to do as alternative as they can. And I think a lot of people feel disheartened or like they failed themselves or somehow they failed if they're not able to do that. And it's so individual. Having gone through what I've gone through, starting out wanting to do all alternative, throwing a lot of stuff at myself in the early days and spending a ton of money. I mean, I don't know how a person can do all alternative and not spend tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, because just getting high dose vitamin C or just spending an hour in the office of a naturopathic doctor can cost $300. We spent $750 talking to an incredibly prominent alternative doctor in Reno, and he had a whole treatment that he was going to do, but I mean, I didn't even do it, and it was $700 to $800 just to meet with him for a very small amount of time. So you have to really, I mean, if you've got just a ton of cash saved up and you want to do that, great, but most people aren't in that position. So to me, there's a lot of things that you can do that I call integrative, or call, you know, a mix of the two, a hybridization of the conventional and alternative treatment protocols. So, I mean, getting acupuncture and getting a certain type of exercise, juicing, doing enemas, doing biomat. A lot of people do other types of things too. I'm not doing. Some people do combo, I think is how you say it. And I know there's bee therapy, there's high dose vitamin C. I don't know, a lot of people use cannabis. And there are a lot of things that you can do. So to me, hopefully a person starts out relatively healthy, which I think that I did. And I think that's why I'm having pretty good recovery. I mean, I'm, you know, for 10 days basically, that's the amount of time where I feel pretty worn out. I mean, I'm sure you can see it in how I look and hear it in my voice. Having chemo 2 days ago, it's kind of feel like I got run over by a truck, you know, whatever that might be like, without getting all my bones squashed. But everything feels harder than it would normally. Yeah, actually I'm feeling this. Last time I was feeling this too. I'm getting kind of like sore and swollen lymph nodes. I really felt that here. Yeah, anyway, I mean, the reason why I even do the videos, part of it is just to keep people that are interested updated, and part of it is because I know when I first started out, I looked for a lot of answers. I looked for a lot of stories. I wanted hope and encouragement. I wanted to know all I could so that I could make the best decisions I could for myself. And I mean, there's a lot online, there's a lot on the internet, and I really like getting the personal stories of people and what they've gone through. And at the end of the day, you know, it's whatever a person decides for themselves is so personal. I spoke to someone today. It was my daughter's first day of school. She's going into 5th grade, and another mother there said, wow, you know, it's so great you really reach out and put yourself out there. And I was like, I don't know how not to do that. I mean, I have periods of time where I'm not doing it because I just don't feel like it, or I'm resting, but how could I not share my experience? It's a huge part of my life, and all it takes is one person to say, wow, that made an impact, or wow, that made a difference, and I got something from that, and that's all I need. If not one person watched a video, or not one person commented and told me that they got something from it, I might wonder. I'd probably still do it, because it really is a type of, it's like journaling, but I'm too lazy to write and journal, so I'm doing a video journal, and it's such a, I guess it's really just a creative outlet for me in some ways, but I do hope and know from being told that it does make a difference for some people. So I'm happy there's a lot of people that are sharing their journey. I really like posting things on Instagram. That's actually my preferred way to, I don't know, put myself out there, to share my story, to share my life and my insights. I like Instagram. It has a lot more to it than I realized. Facebook is, I don't know, Facebook is just not really doing it for me these days in the same way. But then, of course, YouTube, which is where I put these up. So I'm happy there's a lot of people out there. On Instagram, it's so great. You can follow hashtags, and I kind of just learned that recently. So I follow, like, I think I just followed moms with cancer and HER2 positive cancer, just breast cancer. And I get to read these really encouraging stories and see these beautiful pictures of people who are going through what I'm going through, and in different amounts, in different regards. I mean, some people are stage 4, some people have their hair out, some people are 18 weeks past treatment and their hair's growing, and it's just, I mean, it's really encouraging, because it's inspiring to me to realize, there's this whole community out there of people who I'm in it with. It was kind of like when I gave birth. It was the weirdest thing. When I gave birth, I have one kid. She's almost 10. And I had this feeling. I was like in the pushing phase, and it was hard. I mean, to say the least, it was hard. And I was pushing, and I just for a minute just checked in with myself and realized, like, how many other women in the world right now are birthing a child? And there's got to, I mean, I don't know how many are birthing a child at any given moment, but I figured there must have been thousands, if not more. So I kind of just like, I sort of called on that, the energy of all of us that were doing the same thing at the same time, and somehow it really invigorated me and inspired me and gave me a lot more energy than I had on my own. And so I think we just get stuck in this on our own mindset, and we're really not on our own. I mean, our stories are not unique. Nothing that we're going through is really unique. It feels like it is because it's us, and our whole world is, we see everything from our own perspective. So, but when I realize how many other people are going through what I'm going through, how many people have gone before me, and how many people will go after me, I mean, I'm sure there's everybody has had something like that they can relate to, where, some tough walk that they've gone on, some path in their life. And I don't know, for me anyway, it's just been really inspiring and encouraging. I don't need to know somebody's first name to know. I see a picture of a child that's going through cancer therapy, and it just touches my heart, and it brings tears to my eyes to see that there's so many people out there going through the same thing. So anyway, that's what I have to say. I'll be done. My next one is 3 weeks from Tuesday, and then my last one's October 2nd. I still need to reach out to Stanford. I need to tell them what I'm doing and just make sure. I do have an appointment on September 23rd there, but I need to make sure that I'm just doing what they're expecting me to be doing, and I'm in line. I might take the month of November off. I'm planning to do a trip with my boyfriend and my daughter, and we're going to go back east, and I might just want to take that whole month off and give myself a break before I do surgery, because I'm still pretty sure I'm going to do surgery. And then I'll have to recover from that. But surgery just feels like anything but this kind of like, well, first of all, just this like horrible feeling that I get in my chest, and digestion and acid reflux and heartburn. It's really bad. It's really bad. So recovering from surgery, I think, will be a lot easier than that. I don't know. Maybe it won't, but at least it'll be different. So, yeah, thanks for being here with me, being on this ride with me, and for caring, and for your comments, and for your hugs, and your smiles. All that stuff is it's very profound for me, and I really feel it, so I appreciate it. Thank you.